What's up, everybody? Fantasy Endgame ready to draft once again. And this is going to be one of the final drafts before the draft because hard to believe already next week we're going to be going live, but not just for a mock draft, but for the actual NFL draft. So, last chance to get an idea of where these players are being valued before it all changes. And I say this already because this is important. You have to look at where these players have come from, risers, fallers. Keep in mind, what did we think of these guys before the NFL draft? Because a lot of people, I think, will move too far off of their pre-draft kind of values and thoughts about that. I mean, I don't know. What is your thought on that, Chris, as we wait for this to fill up in about 5 seconds because we only have one spot left? Do you think that the pre-NFL draft values on guys, I don't just mean rookies, but like you and veterans, does it become meaningless after the draft, or do you feel like people overreact to the draft, or as with everything, is it kind of similar?
I don't think it's definitely not meaningless, but I do think I always go back to a few years ago when we supplied every player with felt oh my gosh, yes, we're going to do this better, but never delivers it. Right? So I don't think it's necessarily like if you really look at players, you don't like the player. You have to consider him, right? It's like, hey, I have to like, I like him. But also, the player that they take care of is also very, sometimes it's a lot, especially on the player.
Yeah, sorry. I thought maybe it was just me. I'm having a hard time hearing your mic.
Oh, that's weird. It says it's connected. How about now? Is that better?
Much better.
Okay. Not sure what's going on. Sorry about that, everybody. Don't know what you got out of that. Which is weird because we just did a baseball stream and I think it was fine. So I'm not sure what happened in between then and now. But anyways, I was saying I always think back to when the Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the last pick in the first round. And, even though I thought Jonathan Taylor was a better prospect than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I was like, oh my God, he's on the Chiefs. And I bumped him up too much. Yeah. It can go the other way too, where I see, especially, I know you and I follow a lot of people on Twitter or whatever, we're in that space. If somebody is like so dead set on their prospect and then that prospect goes somewhere horrible, they're like, he can do it. He can do it in this terrible situation, right? So you gotta be ready to like, yeah, you should know who you like and who you don't, but you also have to be ready to be like, okay, I like this. Maybe he landed in a horrible spot, so I guess maybe I have to move off him or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that many times in the past where I just, fall in love with a prospect or I think this guy can do it and then just kind of ignore the signs or just say like, well, okay, that wasn't a good spot, but you have to always kind of try to be reasonable about your takes. And yeah, you can like a guy doesn't have to land in the perfect spot. A rookie I'm talking about doesn't have to land in the perfect spot. But if he lands in a bad spot, you have to, take that in consideration. So it's tough to know who's going to pop, who isn't, but there are plenty of sure things that don't happen. So all right. This draft, by the way, we're getting on Sleeper once again. So the rankings in ADP has been updated in a couple of weeks now, but it's all going to change pretty soon. Not perfect, but nothing is this early. I went with the 2, took CeeDee Lamb. You went 11, and you took Puka. I assume you're still happy with Puka, first-round Puka?
Yep, I'm still in on first-round Puka, and I'm still in on first-round Jahmyr Gibbs, so I'll happily take him here in early second.
Yeah. And let's see, is Aiden Lee in on early second-round A-Chance, going Kyron A-Chan. I mean, that feels like a very boom bust type of stack there at RB. I mean, tons of upside, but also there's fairly risky.
That's truly hero RB. I mean, those guys are either going to be your heroes or your zeros this year for sure. For sure.
Yeah. By the way, answer Callum Coleman. How often do you do this? Every single week. Been drafting every week since the NFL season officially ended after the Super Bowl. And actually, I think we didn't even wait. I think we were starting like even before the postseason was over. We were just doing mock drafts. And we'll do it every week until the season starts. And once we get near actual draft season, we'll be doing it multiple times per week. So we do one on Sleeper every week, just a redraft mock, just to get some practice in and also take a look at these values. And we're doing Underdog every week too, so you can get in and figure out how best ball works, so you can actually draft for real and win some money. Can we do one tomorrow? We probably won't because we're doing one tonight. So we're still going to keep it still to one each a week, but we will do another one next week.
Yes, and I definitely cannot do one tomorrow, but I'm sure. Look, when we start getting to closer to the season, we'll be doing these more often, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So don't worry, it's still a way too long off season, but don't worry, we'll still be here. So thoughts on this, and if Clayton trying something different or that big on Neighbors. We see Harrison mid second round, let's say 2-8, and then Neighbors at the 2-9. Too aggressive on Neighbors?
I mean, I'm sure he got sniped on Harrison there. I know. I mean, he got sniped on Ayuk in the early second, and then got sniped again on Harrison. So he probably just rage drafted Neighbors. I know he likes Neighbors. I know he loves the rookies right now. We'll see. Look, on next Friday, I guess next Thursday night, that pick could look great, or it could look like not good. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's one of those picks that will definitely change one or the other.
Duke and London.
Let's see. Just don't know still, even late second. Like which receiver do I take there? I thought about Devontae Adams. I guess I like DJ Moore. I feel like it's too early for Nico or any of those Texans receivers.
Yeah, I agree. This is I call it like the wide receiver dead zone, where it's like it's not even a wide receiver dead zone. It's just like a dead zone where I really don't want to take anybody in that range.
Yeah, and we had 4 first-round running backs, 4 second-round running backs. I don't love any running back on the board this early. And I wonder how much that's going to change. It's going to be a point where there are receivers who are like, okay, I feel good taking him here. All right, so other John with Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel to go with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's a very, very old start. It's a very anti-Clayton start.
Yeah. I've been taking Pittman so much at this range here in the 3rd round. I'm just going to switch it up. I'll go with Mike Evans.
Yeah, I think either of those guys. Either of those guys are fine there.
All right, so he's saying his order there is Harrison, London, and then Harrison, Ayuk, and then London. Obviously, Ayuk being the first choice there. London definitely gone by then. Ale, what's up? Ale's in the house. Ale took London.
What's up, Ale?
Yeah, I'm here for Drake London breakout time. Top 3 receiver? Oh yeah, I'm not that high on London though.
I mean, I guess anything is possible. Like who? Like where was who said it earlier? Toby Foot at Amplico, Kyron waiver wire to first rounder, Puka 2. I mean, anything is possible. Anything is possible in fantasy football.
But this is true, right? This is not a random guy who could break out. This is the number 1 receiver drafted in his class in the high-end pick. So yeah, definitely possible. Hey, injuries happen. Doesn't have to mean that he's significantly better than Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. It's just Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson both missed time last year. So yeah. All right. Now here we do have a keeper question. We'll get to that in a minute, but this is important. People are asking about drafting next week in the draft. So Jim K, will we go live during the draft? Absolutely.
It's a tradition. It's an in-game tradition going live. We would go live during the draft back when we were even on Rotoballer, I think, didn't we?
We
back
did.
In the Rotoballer days?
Several years.
Yeah.
Nothing better than the live reactions.
Yes.
There are going to be surprises.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. I cannot wait, honestly.
Yeah, so we have this build-up waiting, right, for the draft and all the rumors and all the hype and all the rookie talk. And then we get this surge, and then afterwards, it's like, oh, man, now we have to wait again, like 2 more months for actual football. So it'll keep us going for a while, and we'll definitely have a good idea of how to draft. And then the mock drafts, I should say, we're doing, and the best ball drafts on Underdog, we'll have a lot more meaning to them. So now I noticed you went not just double lion, but early tight end in round 3. You're just trying on to see how it fits.
I finally got Sam Laporta. This is where I'm comfortable taking Sam Laporta this late in the draft. Like when I look at the other players on the board, I can't pull the trigger on the Texans wide receivers here. I can't do it. I feel like it's too early for QB. I already have Jahmyr Gibbs. And Keith didn't do me any favors with his 2 picks there.
I didn't even notice. We just jumped right into it. I didn't even see who was all in here. Keith, what is up, Keith? The Weather Beast is right after you.
Yeah, this is a gross spot. Gross. Man.
I mean, there's still 2 Texans receivers left.
I don't even want them, honestly.
The veterans.
All right. Okay. I think Rice is okay here. Ugh. Such a gross spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, you're not really excited, like blown away by Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, like Stephon Diggs. You're like, man, those are high-end guys. Well, they were. Are they really still high-end fantasy guys this year? That's the question. Okay. Keeper question before we get to the next one. Hayden asked this a few minutes ago. Keep 3, Stroud, London, who we just discussed, Waddle, Henry, assuming you're talking about Derrick Henry, and McBride.
I think we can easily scratch off Derrick Henry. I mean, even if Derrick Henry is good this year, are you going to keep Derrick Henry again next year? I mean, like, definitely scratching off Henry.
Yeah.
And I think unless there's something special about your tight ends, like it's tight end premium, I'm probably going to scratch off McBride. I mean, look, even for as good as Sam Laporta was last year, unless somebody has like the kind of season we saw from Travis Kelce those couple of years where he was like, a top 10, top 5 fantasy player, even like Sam Laporta last year, yeah, he was a great advantage at tight end, but he wasn't like winning you weeks by himself. You know what I mean? Like, he was good for a tight end, but how often was he out there like winning you weeks? So I think I would go Stroud, London, Waddle would be my 3.
Yeah, if you're keeping 3 of these guys, London and Waddle have to be 2 of them. I'm still in on McBride, but I don't think he'll give you as huge of an advantage as I think a lot of people think he will. It's simply easier to replace a tight end than a franchise quarterback. So if people are keeping quarterbacks, which I'm assuming they are, if they get to keep 3, I don't know exactly the rules. of your league, but I think you might be better off keeping those first 3. Now, I say that. Yeah, okay. So Clayton took McBride, so once again, I'm denied. I thought I might actually get Trey McBride for the first time, and no. But I will say this then. Now I can give reasons against McBride. All right, hold on. Let me make my pick first. So we had a little tight end, maybe not a run, but Kelsey, Andrews, and McBride all round 4. Let's see. Man, really no running backs I want.
I mean, the Texans guys are still out there.
They sure are. Okay, let's do this. I think I'm going to be an early committal to 0 RB this draft.
Yeah, there's some good quarterback value on the board as well right now.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be an early quarterback guy this year, but I think just the way the board is falling, since I didn't get one of those top tight end targets, and to me, there's a teardrop now. I'm going to wait, and then receiver, I don't really know who I like the best. And running back, I know I can win a running back with the options left. I might as well do this. All right, let's see what other John does, but I might wind up with a Texans receiver after all. We'll go back to McBride, though. I will say this. Yes, he broke out. And yes, he definitely will be a top tight end this year. I'm still in on McBride as a top 5 tight end. But you do have to remember what happens with tight ends when they thrive a lot of times. It's because there's no one else to throw to. Now, what happened last year in Arizona? Hollywood got hurt, and there was no one else to throw to. I mean, that's got to be a big part of it. Don't you think that part of his numbers, at least his your target numbers, I think that played at least some role.
For sure. But look at, I think still, I mean, for sure that played a part in it, definitely. But I still think he's going to be great this year because even if they draft Marvin Harrison, are we worried that Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, they're going to be significant target guys? No, I think it's like you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. You look at even when the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce was still a beast. Because it's to me, having one good wide receiver does not hurt the tight end. You're right. If they had if you look at a team what was a team? What's a team that stacked the wide receiver? Dalton Schultz going to the Texans. Yeah, they had Nico Collins, they had Tank Dell. They didn't need Dalton Schultz that much. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure there's better examples than Dalton Schultz. I just can't think of right now. So, yeah, I still think Trey McBride will be a monster because even with Harrison, it's okay, who do they have after that? Trey McBride is probably their next best pass catcher. Kind of like how Sam Laporta is the Lions' next best pass catcher. Kind of like how Travis Kelce with Tyreek Hill was the Chiefs' next best pass catcher. So I still like McBride a lot.
Right. And so that's why I'm still in on McBride. Like I said, I have him as a top 5 tight end for sure this coming season, and I'm still waiting to see if I can possibly draft him ever. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they didn't really do. They're going to subtract basically Hollywood and substitute him for whoever they draft. All right, so I did wind up taking Tank Dell because, all right, 5th round, sure, I'll take him over.
Yeah, I think 5th round is where I'll okay, I can consider this guy.
I like this take, Toby. There will be a game-changing Texans receiver. We just don't know who.
The problem is it might be a week-to-week thing. We might not know who it is on a week-to-week basis, right? That's my real worry here is 1 week it might be this one guy, 1 week it might be the other guy.
Yep. That's frustrating, but hey, at least you have that weekly upside. I mean, there's not that many receivers who are going to go off almost every week.
I All right. I would love it if Keith didn't accidentally take Terry McLaurin last round. All right. I'll bite. I'll bite on end of fifth round Cooper Kupp. Go with the Ram stack here.
What's your response to this?
That's not true. I actually look, I picked my draft spot. I do like my draft spot. Just that last pick was a little rough. That last pick was like, and same with Harry. I might reach a little. It's redraft. You know what? It's redraft. I think he's a like.
Yeah. And, we usually see some good value at the turn. Every draft is different the way it plays out. So it's tough. It's definitely tough to know where to value these guys. But hey, we're just mocking. I know you said the other day you had some concerns about Cooper Kupp shouldn't be going too early, but you got him at the 5'11"? That feels like it could be a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like having Puka and Kupp on the same team. But sometimes you gotta just take the value when it falls like that. I'll take Kupp here. Very, very low risk at this spot.
Yeah, exactly. The risk is mitigated to some point. All right, what do you think about this take? Obviously, having just drafted him may play a part in it, or maybe this is why he drafted him. But Clayton McBride is easily going to be the fancy tight end one.
I will say one thing about Clayton, if nothing else. He believes in his takes. That's for sure. Easily the tight end one.
Well, I'll say this. Before Ayuk really became, look, he's a second-round pick now going into next year. He was all team Ayuk. He's obviously big on Ayuk, but he predicted the Ayuk elite receiver status. So got to give him props for that.
For sure. No, for sure. I'm not saying he gets stuff wrong. I'm just saying, like, when he's in on something, he's in on it. Like, he's all the way in on it. Like, he's Malik Neighbors in the second.
Hey, I'm big now. I don't know if I'm mid-second round Malik Neighbors, but yeah, I'm big on Malik Neighbors. Man, if he goes to the Giants, I'm not going to be in on Malik Neighbors. If he goes to the Chargers, I still will like him, but I don't think I'll like him as much if he went to certain other teams. But we'll see. That probably doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I don't see this whole thing. Everybody wants the Chargers to take a receiver. I just don't see it happening.
I mean, they might take a wide receiver. I just don't think I don't know if it's going to be with the number 6 pick or whatever they have. It might be like a second round wide receiver who's for their team is more than good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is what I mean about Clayton has his guys and he's all in on his guys. I mean, I get Trey Benson outside the top 100 picks on Underdog. He's a 6th rounder in this draft.
Yeah, Trey Benson, he's probably the only guy we know that's higher on Benson than we are right now. Of course, landing spot will matter a lot. Hey. Okay, so all right, let's go one more receiver because I did have one guy still queued up. And what's up, Young Money? By the way, keeping that up there. But yeah, got Neighbors as a wide receiver one. I know some people are saying that he's not the only one, but yeah, I could see it happening. I could see Neighbors being the number one guy. And then what's Royland? Also, I'm trying to put up his comments. I keep passing it. The year of the zero RB build. Is there ever not a year for a zero RB build?
No, and I was thinking about it more, especially now I'm playing fantasy baseball, and I'm like, why? Like I think like what I'm doing tonight, where you get like an elite running back like Jahmyr Gibbs, I think that's also a good option. I mean, obviously anything can work if you get the right guys or you make the right waiver wire pickups. Anything can work, right? So, but yeah, like I keep wondering, like, why did I stop doing zero RB so much? It's such a good strategy, it's so good.
Yeah. I'm typically more anchor, like to have that one guy. I feel like I don't have to worry about mixing and matching, but that's not really any less risky than drafting 2 running backs early because you just never know. Stinger's in the house. What's up, Stinger?
What's up, Stinger?
Yeah, we're right there with you. Even as high as I want to be on HN, the Dolphins, I can't pull the trigger in round 2.
No, can't do it. Not in round 2.
Brian. Oh, I don't know if we want to redo it if it really matters. It's just the mock. He's saying he drafted the wrong Brooks.
What other?
Got Jalen Brooks.
Here. Okay, yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Just willing him to the Cowboys. Is that what's going on here? You just assume he'll be a Cowboy?
Why is it not? Do I have to do rookies only? Why isn't he coming up? There he is. Oh, he's ON. Okay, there you go. There you go.
All right. Follow up to the HN question here from Young Money. Why is Barkley going behind Kyron, HN, and Gibbs?
Yeah, yeah. Key saying tush push. Yeah, you got to worry about touchdown upside in that offense. Like Jason Kelsey said on the podcast, he told the Eagles running backs, just don't get tackled at the 1. You get tackled at the 1, you're not going to score. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Don't get tackled at the 1. So you got to worry a little bit about touchdown upside, of course. And also we know like it's not going to be like on the Giants. I mean, it's going to be a better offense than the Giants, but also he's probably not going to get the volume he got with the Giants because they actually have an offense that can do other stuff. So I think Barkley will be fine. I like Barkley. Oh, I actually got sniped on Mixon. Didn't even think that's like 2 drafts in a row where I get sniped on Mixon.
I saw Mixon. He seems to have dropped a lot in the ADP, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think he'll be like, I think at this spot he'll at least be okay. I mean, he's going to be the guy in Houston, at least for however long he stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally fine, especially here. I'm just surprised. I feel like he was being ranked too high. Now he's dropped. It's too low. But I was between Mixon and the Javonte, and I thought, okay, if you're going to take a running back, that you would go Javonte. So you apparently were going to take either one of these guys or both.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably take Javonte if he fell to me.
Yes, that is. See, things change. Every year is different.
What's that?
He says,
Yes.
Never thought he'd hear that come out of your mouth,
Well,
but it's different.
Well, I will say this. Because sometimes I get labeled like I just don't like certain players, and I don't think that's really true. I think the year Mixon was like okay or like semi-decent, I was actually on him. But then he just because there was that one year where like he was going, you could get him in like round 4, and I was like, I think that's too low for Mixon this year, and he was pretty good. And then the next year you had to get him in like the 2nd. I was like, no, I'm off Mixon. And then every year I was like, you had to take him in the 2nd. I'm like, no, I'm off Mixon there. And then last year I was off him because I didn't think he'd be any good. Well, I guess he probably ended up being better than I thought, although I don't know if he was any good still. But now I feel like if I can get Mixon this late, the lead back for the Texans in the 7th round, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, it's always about value. And so, yeah, I didn't draft any Mixon last year. But it all depends. So speaking of value, Corey wants to know, why is Monty going so late here? I would have actually, maybe should have taken Monty. Didn't know if other John was going to go 1 or 2 RBs. He took 2, took Monty. So I maybe could have taken Monty there. But yeah, I feel like that's about right for him.
Yeah, I think if you look at Monty last year, like, yeah, he was really good first half of the season, and then he had that injury. And then when he came back, he was still okay. But I really feel like, second half of the season, and especially the NFL playoffs, it really looked like they started to trust Jahmyr Gibbs more and more, which makes sense. And I just think we're going to see that even more going into 2024. I just think we're going to see more of a – I mean, Monty's not going to be – like, he's not going to disappear. But I think we're going to see Gibbs probably be a little more of the lead back. And we know Gibbs is the better pass-catching back. So I think Monty will be okay, but just okay.
It's one of those guys that could wind up at the end of the season with RB2 numbers, meaning he makes just inside or just outside the top 20. But at the end of the day, you kind of be like, oh, I guess he didn't have that bad numbers, because on a weekly basis, he'll probably have a little bit limited upside. It's going to be, unfortunately, a little more touchdown dependent, which, yeah, he'll still score touchdowns, but you don't want to depend on that each and every week. All right. Eckler, taken before B-Rob. I'm going to take B-Rob here and be happy.
Yeah, it's pretty common, actually, even in underdog drafts. Most people taking Eckler before B-Rob.
And okay, we're going upside, 0 RB. There we go. Yeah, a lot of things have changed.
Yes. And they will change again in a little over a week here.
Okay, here's a interesting question. Denizen gave up Caleb Williams, or whoever you were going to take at the 1-1. Maybe it was Martin Harrison. Who knows? Gave up the 1-1 and Devontae Smith for AJ Brown, JT, and Cup, Dynasty Superflex PPR.
I mean, you smashed. I mean, you get a young, very good wide receiver. You get a young stud wide receiver in AJ Brown. You get a young, very good wide receiver in Devontae Smith, and you get a young stud running back in JT. Oh, and you get Cup thrown in, like, whatever, like, fine, throw Cup in. You fleeced whoever gave you that. You fleeced them.
Being that it's Superflex and Dynasty, you think that we're giving up Caleb Williams?
No. I mean, look, Caleb Williams could certainly be great. Like, let me ask you this. Are you taking Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, JT, and Cup, or CJ Stroud and Superflex?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair, right? Because are we going to assume Caleb Williams is going to be superior to CJ Stroud? Probably not.
Right.
I mean, look, you know me. I prefer the known thing than the chance of the guy who might whatever. And, I think the key here is Cup. If you get nothing out of Cup, like he's just done or he's just hurt or whatever, then I think this winds up being fair. I think this is still it's good.
Wait, I think I read this wrong. It's the 101 and
he gave up the 1-1 and Devontae Smith.
Oh, I thought he got Smith, AJ Brown, JT, and Cup. Okay, hold on. That changes it a little bit.
So basically, let's just say it's Caleb Williams. It's Caleb Williams and Devontae Smith, and he's getting back AJB, JT, and Cup. So I think for dynasty purposes, I think Brown and Smith, I mean, it's pretty comparable, right? Smith's a little younger, Brown's a little bit more productive. So it's like, are you getting JT and Cup, or are you on Caleb Williams? Well, hold on. It's your turn.
I'm going the Caleb Williams side. I'm sorry. I misread it the first time. I thought you were getting all those players.
Oh, that would be a haul, yeah.
And just giving up the 101. No, I'm going the 101. 101 and Devonta Smith.
Yeah, if it wasn't super flex, that would be different. Like, I would say this. I think if you get something out of Cup, then you could wind up being happier this year. This is better for a win now team. And if it's super flex, I want to know who your other quarterbacks are, right? If you're giving up Caleb Williams, I'm hoping you already have 2 really good quarterbacks. So it still could help you out this year. But, man, it's hard to give up a potentially generational talent. But we keep saying that, right? Without Trevor Lawrence was like a sure thing until he's not a sure thing. And there's a lot of number 1 overall quarterbacks that haven't wound up being, elite. So I think this is fair, but I would say only good for you if, number 1, you already have 2 really good quarterbacks and you're building to win this year. What about this? Stinger. I feel like you should already know this, Stinger. Why is Chubb falling so far?
Why is Chubb falling so far? He's going to be, 29? He had the worst knee injury you can possibly have for a running back, right? Then he had to have 2 surgeries on the knee. And remember, he didn't even have ACL surgery until the middle of November, because he had to have the first surgery. Then they had to wait for that to recover a little bit, and then he had the second surgery. I mean, when are we going to see Nick Chubb? What version of Nick Chubb are we going to see? Yeah, I can just easily pass on Nick Chubb this year.
Yeah, and he will get drafted higher in most other leagues that aren't endgame leagues, but probably too high based on name, past production. We got to look forward.
Yep.
Pitts in 8th. You think that's a steal?
Yeah, I thought it was a steal last year.
Yeah.
We'll see. I will say I would gamble on Pitts in the 8th, but I'm not ready to say anything about Kyle Pitts as a steal. No.
Yeah, just always looks like a steal on draft in the preseason. Hey, it could be. I'm not saying he can't, but we got to see it. We got to see something.
But I said that last year too.
Let's go to this. Guess we missed this. Royland. Sounds like we're off Justin Herbert. No, kind of mentioned that. I don't think they're going to draft Malik Neighbors or receiver early. I mean, if I'm wrong, yeah, that will change my opinion somewhat, but still not completely. Am I completely off Justin Herbert? I don't think I'm drafting him as a top 12 quarterback.
Yeah, I'm completely off Justin Herbert. Even if you told me right now they're drafting Neighbors, it's like, okay, it's still going to be a run-heavy offense. It's still going to be an offense that wants to run the ball. Okay, that helps, but at the same time, it's like, is a rookie wide receiver on a run-heavy offense enough to, for me to feel good about Justin Herbert this year? Not really. Like, he'll be fine, he'll be okay, but I think in your 1 QB you can do better this year.
Yeah. And I say that because there's also several other quarterbacks I think can be just as productive and have more upside. I mean, Herbert's a good quarterback. Nothing against him. It's just the system, the opportunities. They're just not going to throw as much as you want. Trust me. They threw more than they wanted to the last couple of years because the defense was that bad. not only is it a conservative play caller coming in, and conservative meaning very conservative, like I want to run the ball first, second, third, and fourth down if possible. But also, if the defense is less horrible, they won't have to pass the ball much. Remember, it's the Brandon Staley made Justin Herbert a great fantasy quarterback by putting out such a bad defense each and every week. So if that's fixed, and if they run the ball, then subsequently they won't give up as many points because they're not leaving their defense out there to dry as often. It's just, I don't see great things. He won't be bad, but he's not going to be giving you what you really want from a fantasy quarterback each and every week. This is the question. Like, what is the upside? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. What is the upside?
Best case scenario, they draft Malik Neighbors, right? Everyone goes all excited. Oh, Justin Herbert and Malik Neighbors. Even then, what is his upside?
I don't think it's that much. I mean, you're not getting any rushing, so it's all got to come through the air. Like,
right?
Are they going to attempt 600 passes?
I doubt it.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, he'd have to be like insanely efficient, like crazy efficient. And he'd have to somehow another thing is when they get near the goal line, are they going to throw the football? Like, you know what I mean? Like Brandon Staley, they get near the goal line and it's like call some exotic plays and crazy play. Like they're just going to get near the goal line, pound it, pound it, pound it. You know what I mean? So I don't even know what the upside is. Like I said, even if they draft Neighbors, in a 1 QB league, no. I mean, look, in Superflex, Dynasty, sure, I'll still have some interest in him. He's young. He's a good quarterback, but in a 1 QB league, nah.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind, people are going to get all excited which again, I don't even think will happen, but even think, well, I got Malik Neighbors. He's just replacing Keenan Allen, who was his best target and was one of the best receivers, over the last several years in the league. I mean, even if best case scenario, Malik Neighbors is as good or better than Keenan Allen, that's not really a boost for his numbers. You know what I'm saying? And then he still has to try to throw it to Quentin Johnson once in a while.
Yeah. Where are all the running backs? Do you have all the running backs? What happened? Where'd they all go?
I'm grabbing as many late running backs as I can because I got no early running backs. But yeah, it's getting rough. You did grab the Gus, so I guess you're not worried about J.K. Dobbins?
I'm definitely not worried about J.K. Dobbins. I am worried about them drafting a running back for sure. But
yes, not worried about J.K. Dobbins too much.
Not worried about J.K. Dobbins. I mean, the guy, look, I feel for J.K. Dobbins. Last year I was finally on the J.K. Dobbins train. I said, this is it. This is the year. And then game one, he had his Achilles. But that's the thing. We're talking about a guy who tore his ACL. By the way, kind of similar to the Nick Chubb tear where he had to have multiple surgeries, tore everything. And remember, he was a lot younger when he did it. Struggled to come back. Then what? Tears his Achilles. Yeah, I'm good. And I'm still waiting. We're still waiting. We thought for a minute it was James Robinson. We thought for a minute it was Cam Akers, but it wasn't. We're still waiting for a running back to actually successfully come back from Achilles and be as good as they were before. We're still waiting for that.
Yeah. I don't think Dobbins should put anybody down on Gus, but I'm still just assuming. You see, I did take another share of Blake Corum. Just putting him there, just like earlier, Jonathan Brooks just assumed to be a Cowboy. I'm just going to assume Corum's going to go to the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? It certainly makes a lot of sense for them. But I do think I think there's a better chance that they draft a running, not with the number 6 pick, of course, but I think there's a better chance they draft a running back than drafting one of the top wide receivers.
Yes, definitely.
So I like Gus Bus right now. I might still like Gus Bus after the draft, depending on which running back they get and when. Or I might be like, okay, I got to be kind of down on Gus Bus. But I mean, we're getting him in what, round 11, the end of round 11? That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. There's almost no risk here. All right. Waited on tight end, got my stack. I'm happy got the Hertz Goddard stack.
There you go. Goddard, I can't understand why Goddard's going this late.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to have any new pass catchers to contend with. It's going to be the same, hopefully a better offense than last year. This is going to feel weird, but I guess with my build, let's take a shot here. Miles Sanders.
Stealing Keith is Gus Bus. All right. I didn't know he was so high. I'll trade you Gus Bus for Terry McLaurin since you didn't want that Terry pick.
It's claiming it. It's saying my Gus. All right. Right. Couple quick questions before we wrap up. We were in the last round already. Thoughts? Eli wants to know thoughts on Etienne.
He'll be fine. I think probably similar to what we saw last year. He'll have some really great games. He'll probably have some down games and also some okay games. I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I think he's firmly in the lower end of the RB1 spectrum, third, fourth round pick, solid. They're going to have to run the ball still quite a bit this year. They should be running the ball more probably, but yeah, I don't think that much will change with Etienne. So if you're happy with what you got from him last year, you should be happy with what you get from him this year, I guess. Yeah. Nobody wants to know, are any clear sell high guys in Dynasty? You think AR? He thinks the AR is a secret to sell high. But I don't know. Are you selling high in a guy who missed most of the season?
Probably not. I mean, because I like AR, but I get it. Sell highs in Dynasty would be like, I think Kyron is probably, look, I still think Kyron could be very good this year, but he's the kind of running back that I don't want to gamble on long term on my Dynasty team. He was nothing special as a prospect. He's the kind of guy I just feel like can be replaced in an instant. He feels like a sell high to me. Who else? He's probably like the one that just jumps out at me, like the obvious sell high.
Yeah, the best sell highs are almost always running backs, right? Because the shelf life is shorter and the volatility. So that one definitely makes a lot of sense.
I might be trying to sell high on Jahan Dotson after they draft Jaden Daniels or Drake May and people get excited about the Commanders offense. I don't know how high you can sell on Jahan Dotson after last year. Maybe you can't. But people are going to get excited about the Commanders offense again after they draft QB, so he might be one. But I don't know.
It's so funny you say that because I just today saw someone tweet out like something about that connecting, like Jaden Daniels there, like this is your chance to buy low on Jahan Dotson. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably more of a buy low than a sell high, but I don't know. People get excited like right after the draft.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's
Hollywood might be a great sell high in Dynasty, even though I like him this year and I think he'll be good in Kansas City. He's only on a 1-year deal. There is still some risk. I think he might be a good sell high.
And if there's a maybe not secret, but almost a sneaky or maybe even controversial sell high, I think it's Texans receivers. Everyone just assumes all three guys will eat. People are going to throw out crazy deal to get Tank Dell. Have him, and I'll take more of a sure thing. But anyways, let's get to the breakdown of the teams here. We are done with this mock. Team 1 is the other John. CMC, Devontae Adams, Debo, DK Metcalf, Lamar, Monty and Pollard, Ingram, Watson, Shaheed, Worthy, Gibson, and Bucky Irving.
I will say real quick, I kept considering Gibson. I'm kind of on the fence with Gibson. I don't mind that pick, actually, especially with the way running backs went down the stretch. But A very interesting start here. A lot of very veteran heavy team early on. But obviously you got CMC. That's great. I think those wide receivers are just okay. Like, I don't think they're going to hurt you, but I don't know if they're going to carry you necessarily. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too low on them. Maybe they'll be better than I think. I do like Debo, but like Adams, Metcalf, I think they'll just be okay. So, not like I don't dislike this team at all. I certainly think it's a solid team, but I guess that's just a word for it. It just feels very solid.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like these are pretty much all known quantities. I don't feel like any of these guys is really going to bust, but I also feel like none of these guys is really going to exceed their projections. Phillies is it's a solid team. It's not the most exciting because in terms of like upside here. So it's definitely gonna be a good team. Hey, you got CMC, you got Lamar, so definitely a solid squad across the board. So I did go 0 RB. Let's see how you feel about this. You're the best one to evaluate a 0 RB build. I went CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Tank Dell, JSN. Got Hurts, got Goddard, and then my running back room is Javonte, B-Rob, Chase Brown, Corum, Charbonnet, and yes, that's Miles Sanders.
I'm surprised you didn't take Marshawn Lloyd over Sanders.
He was in my queue, but
Clayton sniped you. Never mind. Clayton sniped you. Never mind. I mean, I like it. Like, again, very high upside wide receivers. Yeah, a little bit risky with like DJ Moore and Tank Dell and JSN, but a lot of upside. You got a strong quarterback. You got a fine late round tight end. Obviously, whenever you do 0 running back, people are going to be like, I like your wide receivers, but your running backs, they kind of worry me. But look, if Javonte finally does what we expect him to do, or even is just good, if B-Rob is okay there, if Corum goes to a good spot, you got some potential there. So I definitely like it for a 0 RB build. Definitely.
It's still going to feel strange looking at a squad that has Javonte as the RB1, but again, try things on, see how they fit, and see if I like it. In a different draft, I might be able to get Trey Benson a round or two later, but not with Clayton out there. So yeah,
right.
Actually, I'm not too unhappy with this. I think it worked. And then Brian went with Bijan at the 3, then Waddle, Jacobs, Josh Allen, and Diggs, the anti-stack there. Jordan Addison, the actual Jonathan Brooks, Brock Bowers, Jameson Williams, Leggett, Corley, Allen, and Pope. We got a dynasty squad here at the end.
This is a very, very risky team. I mean, obviously, I like Bijan, I like Waddle, I like Jacobs, I like Josh Allen. But Diggs, very risky now in Houston.
Like your mic just cut out again. It's doing something.
Is it better? Good? Bad? Better?
Yeah, better.
Anyway, very risky team. Yeah,
Wait, not better.
Anyway, very risky.
Yeah, I still think it's doing it. It was better for a second, but it's still cutting out. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's risky. Look, we all take rookies late, especially a running back. But I don't know if every pick should be a rookie in a redraft league. So a little too much risk here for a redraft. Bowers is fine. Brooks, okay. If you think he's the guy and you already have him as a Cowboy, okay, maybe. And then I would take like one of those receivers, like Corley or Leggett or Pope. But yeah, even if Brooks is not ready or doesn't pan out, then you're falling back on another rookie who is also probably not going to be a very early pick. So yeah, not even a little, way toward much risk toward the second half of the draft. All right, Clayton, Justin Jefferson, not Brandon Ayuk, but Malik Neighbors, Pittman, McBride, Connor Benson, Brian Thomas. Quick thoughts on that, because Stinger did question Brian Thomas in the 7th round.
First of all, how's my mic?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, all right, I'll just break it down. Just chime in there if you can. I'm not taking Brian Thomas in the 7th round, even if he goes to Buffalo. But Clayton likes his guys. He got his guy. Eckler, Hubbard, Lloyd, fine with those guys, kind of his backups. Now, Clay, we're big on Benson, and of course, landing spot will matter. But I don't know if I really feel great about RB2 in round 6, Benson. You're taking a very, very calculated risk there. So overall, I mean, you went Caleb Williams at quarterback. I actually don't hate that. I think that's fine if you're waiting at quarterback. I feel like it's a little reachy in the middle of your draft. But you got the guys you wanted, so there you go. Team 5, Jay Roddy White, Brees, Marvin Harrison, Etienne, and Henry, Kirk, Godwin, Stroud, and Joku, and then several receivers. Only 3 running backs, but went running back early. It's an interesting strategy. I don't think, I mean, I know that's not a strategy I'm pulling off, and I know you're not going that way typically, right? You're not going to take probably 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds and then not take another. I think it's just so much better to wait on your 3rd running back, if anything. So I know you feel like, well, I got those 3 guys. I don't need a bunch of running backs. But running back is the position where you almost want to prefer quantity to early draft value, because it's just the turnover and the attrition and the risk. So you wound up with decent receivers. I'll say you also have a ton of risk at the end of your draft. You basically went 4 straight rookies at receivers. So it's a very, very all in on one strategy kind of team. So we'll see how it works. I think once you got Etienne, you just would have been better off taking a receiver or something else instead of Henry there. And then you still could have gotten like a Connor or an Aaron Jones or another veteran type running back later if you really want your 3rd running back early-ish. Twisted Bliss went with Team 6, Ty Hill, Barkley, round 2. I'm all for that pick there. Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Hollywood, Aaron Jones, Dak, Zamir White, Cooks, Ford, Samuel Wicks, and then Hunter Henry as the starting tight end. You're on board with that, I guess? All right. Thumbs up for Hunter Henry. I think that's fine if you're waiting on tight ends. Could be a good pick there. I like the value. I think you got pretty good value here with Smith in the 3rd. Sometimes he goes earlier. Flowers in the middle of round 4. That seems like a good value. Hollywood. So I like the values. And then you took Zamir White right before I would have taken him. Dak. So I think this was a very high value team. You still got some upside with some young players. So no rookies. That's crazy. Some people went rookie crazy, rookie heavy, and you don't know, and that's fine. You don't have to get rookies right now. All right, what about Team 7 here? It's Bro Brian, Jamar Chase, Olave, Rashad White, Mark Andrews, Cooper, Kamara, Burrow, Spears, Cortland Sutton, Ty Lockett, Mike Williams, Jake Ferguson, and then Goff at the backup. All right, so didn't reach anywhere. Your receiver room is solid. Mike Williams doesn't really do a lot for me, but hey, at that point, taking a rookie receiver that we have no idea where he's going to go as opposed to Williams, that's fine. It's kind of a wash. You don't need a backup tight end. You don't need a backup quarterback in this format because we only went 13 rounds and you drafted a tight end really early. So you really shouldn't need a backup tight end for Andrews. And then hopefully you won't need somebody to replace Burrow this year other than a bye week. But that aside, I think this team is pretty solid. I mean, you got running backs that should be able to stick throughout the season. You got receivers that should be, even if they're going to be a little volatile week to week, that's not a bad thing. So I think this was a pretty good team. Ale did not go 0 RB. He went with 3 straight receivers and Sun God, London, Higgins, and then got Pacheco, then Keenan Allen, and then 2 more running backs with Ramondre and Swift. Kittle, Shakir, Jalen Wright, Douglas Purdy, Dowdle. Got the Purdy Kittle stack. I think for where you got them, I think that's totally fine. I love those 4 receivers, actually. I think you got them at the right spots and you're good. I like your running backs. There's really nothing I don't like about this team. What do you think? You had to give this team a grade. Give me a number. 8.5. No. Is that a 7? Okay. 7.5. I think that's about right. Okay. Aiden and went with AJ Brown, Ayuk at the 2.4. I'm trying to think, have we seen Ayuk earlier than 2.4? Is that's probably the minimum now? Okay, let's see. James Cook in round 3. Again, that's early-ish. I don't know for sure if he would have been available in round 4. Maybe Jaden Reed. So I'll just say right now, those first couple of picks, good picks, but I feel like each guy was a little early, right? A little earlier than we typically see. Not crazy. I'm not saying these are all reaches. Jordan Love, I know you could have waited on Jordan Love. Pitts was fine there. Pitts is a good value. Chubb, okay, whatever. Jacoby Myers, Keon Coleman. So not my favorite group altogether. Again, I feel like you got good players early, but it was a little early for them. And then the Love pick, you could have turned that into another upside receiver. So this isn't a team I would draft. I mean, you still do have potential here, but yeah, that's my only thing. Probably not any great values on here. And then Aiden Lee went with the double RB here. Kyron Achan, Nico, Kelsey, Mahomes, Pickens, Mixon, Warren, Dotson, Singletary, Gabe, Dobbins, and Thielen. Aside from the fact that I almost guarantee that none of those last 4 picks will ever make a team that Chris drafts. I think besides that, it's a risky start, but it could wind up fine. I just wish your number 3 receiver was not Jahan Dotson, because that's very risky. Buy low in Dynasty, sure. Draft late and take a chance on, sure. But I don't want to have to start him every week. So I probably could have gone receiver. I think what you took Mixon was good, but I would have gone then receiver somebody before Dotson instead of Jalen Warren. And you're in with a Kelsey Mahomes stack. You're like, okay, I'm set there. But then you're really in on the Kelsey Mahomes stack. And then, yeah, the receivers just might be an issue for this team. All right, Chris. Now get to go over your team, and there's nothing you can say about it, any of these. All right. You went Puka and Gibbs, and then Laporta, Rice, Cup, Deontay, Mostert, Kyler, A.D. Mitchell, and then Moscus, Mitchell, Shipley. We did talk about a lot of these picks already. I'll just say altogether, your receiver room. Let's just assume Rashee Rice, everyone, thinks great and happy, and he plays, and he misses maybe 1 game, 2 games, or no games, or whatever. Like, assuming best case scenario, then I think that's fine. Interesting, though, I feel like Cup was a good value, but yeah, having Cup and Puka as your top 3 receivers, that feels a little all in for me. And then Deontay is solid there. But maybe like without the Cup breakout, maybe limiting your upside there at receiver specifically. But then you got Laporta. So again, we got to think maybe that's like replacing your number 2 receiver. So, and then you also have 2 Lions. You got 2 Rams receivers. So you're going in on those offenses specifically. Got Kyler's fine. And then the running backs, RB2, you're definitely mixing and matching. Just going to say, and not just because you can't respond here, but not my favorite of your teams that you've drafted, but I think you feel that because you weren't loving the values you were getting at the end there. It's just kind of how it played out. And then Keith, Garrett Wilson, JT, Rome at the 312. We're seeing him go earlier and earlier. Let's see how early he goes after the NFL draft. Terry McLaurin, AR, and Kincaid with early QB tight end. Najee, Hopkins, Downs, Kendry Miller, Ty Chandler, Dobson, McLaughlin. All right. Solid at receiver. Got to like the mix of both young and old. I say old, but again, DeAndre Hopkins is like 31 or something. And then I like the QB and tight ends. Aggressive going those positions. Could have guys that break out at those positions. JT, and then you're mixing and matching RB2 as well. So think this is solid. You really depending on Anthony Richardson to really be worth that early pick. So if he breaks out and Kincaid breaks out, I think more than any other team, this team is depending on the QB tight end position because you went both early. Yeah, as usual, really no bad picks from the Weather Beast. All right, guys. Appreciate it. We will be back again. We got one more week till the NFL draft, so check out. In the meanwhile, we're also going to do an underdog draft again. Get last chance for discount rookies on best ball. If you haven't tried it out, of course, check out Underdog. Use that promo code Endgame. If you haven't signed up for some reason, it's a good time to do that. And check out the baseball channel if you haven't already. Even if you don't really follow baseball, you can still follow us on the Endgame channel and support us. Appreciate it. And then we'll be here also next week for live NFL draft coverage. So check that out. Hit notifications now so you know as soon as we go live. If you didn't get to jump in on the draft tonight, then you can jump in as soon as we go live. All right. Thanks, guys.